This is Dark Priest 667 and Speedy Steve, and we're going to be doing our first review for Gamerinput.com about Guild Wars 2, the recently released MMORPG. We'll give you a few comments about what we like, what we don't like, and as soon as we're done, you can go to guildwars2.com and pick up a copy or your local retailer if you want. Um, First, I have to say, Steve, the thing I like initially, just going into it, is the character creation in Guild Wars 2 is much more in depth than the original Guild Wars. I don't know if we ever talked about you playing the original Guild Wars, but I did. And one thing I always thought was lacking is a couple things: lack of choice of races, they all looked human, and lack of customability of the characters.
Yeah, it's a lot more advanced now. I like it. It gives a lot more variety, I guess is what I'm going to go with. It's not so bland or blah. It gives a little bit more fantasy to the feel, which, in my opinion, is awesome. You don't want the whole bland cookie when you get it. You want a little bit of spice to it.
Oh, I agree. The thing I just missed here is I didn't know you could change the skin color of this race. So everybody's thinking, oh, that's ugly. Well, I didn't know you could change your skin color, or I would have changed it to green because that's my favorite color. We're going through some more of the customability options for the race, and as you can see, you can customize this character completely. I'm really impressed with that. The other thing that I'm really impressed with is this game does not take a high-end PC to play. I mean, I'm playing it on the highest graphics. I know you're playing it on the highest graphics level. But you wouldn't even need a really great gaming PC like what we have to play this on the highest graphics level. That is going to open up the game for a lot more players. I'm impressed with that. I think they did a good job. I know that this game has been anticipated for a long time. I honestly thought that the system requirements were going to be a lot higher than they were.
It's quite nice how low it is. I mean, it opens it up for a lot more people to play it. You don't have to have this monstrosity of a gaming computer to play.
Yeah, because that can get expensive, as we both well know. An interesting fact while we're going through here looking at the member colleges is 1 million people pre-ordered this game. Now, I didn't buy it pre-order. I actually went out to the store and bought it after it was released. 1 million people. So that's if you look at sales numbers, that's pretty good amount of people bought this game before it even came out. Didn't really have a big idea of how good or bad the game was going to be, but 1 million people said, look, Guild Wars 1 was good enough. We're going to give Guild Wars 2 a shot. This is an interesting dynamic, this advisor thing. If you want to talk about it, Steve, feel free.
Yeah, it's. Hold on, I'm blanking out. I totally forgot what I was going to say.
That's okay. I'll talk for you. The other thing that I like about Guild Wars... Oh, here we go. This is something I don't like. I have to talk about this for a second. Not allowing me to put numbers in my name. I'm Dark Priest 667. Now, I usually use Snowy as my in-game name for all characters. Of course, if I don't get a game on the first day, and it's an MMO, you can be pretty sure that Snowy's going to be taken. So then I tried Dark Snow. And it's like, nope, sorry, somebody has this name already. So that is something I don't like. I like putting numbers in my name. I want to be Dark Priest 667. Notice I hit 6 and it's like, oh no, you can't have a number. I don't know how I feel about that. I don't know if I don't know White Snow. I don't know why I thought that wouldn't be taken. I don't know how you feel about it, Steve, but I've always been a numbers guy.
Same here, because I've always been Speedy Steve 007, but it's going to make it pretty quick, so there's not going to be as many names. It's going to be you're going to sit there for an hour trying to create some name, which is going to get frustrating.
Yeah, well, you see what I'm doing right here.
Yeah, because most people today in the current world, they have a certain number they use with their name.
Yeah, I agree completely, and frankly, I understand why they did it so that it sounds like a quote-unquote real name. But look at how many names I'm having to go through just to try and get this thing right. I don't like it. I want them to, yeah. can't have 667. Thanks a lot. This is one thing I don't like about the game. A lot of games are starting to go to this, especially games with multiple servers are like, hey, you have to have a name. I just don't like it. I think we should go back to the old system. If you want numbers in your name, fine, so be it.
I totally agree with you.
Opening cinematic. First thing I have to say about this, the voice acting, I have to admit, and I know a lot of people who played The Old Republic, Star Wars The Old Republic, were really wowed about the voice acting. I have to say, so far in this game, from what I've seen, the voice acting's pretty good. I don't know what your opinion is, Steve, but I think it's pretty good.
It has been very good. We got a wide range of voice acting, which is quite nice.
Yeah, I know you're farther in the game than I am. I just, you guys out there are actually watching my very first playthrough of this game, so this was my fresh start, fresh opinion. Voice acting, and also, the cinematics, not bad for a game that has such, I'd say, modest system requirements. These graphics are pretty good. So far, the storyline's pretty good. I'm fairly impressed with the game.
Yeah, their engine is pretty good. Everything's well-rounded, so you still have some really pretty graphics, and it runs extremely smoothly, which is even better.
Yeah, I haven't encountered any software issues or anything like that. I will say this real quick for you guys. There was a bug, an exploit, if you will, earlier this week, where there was an item for sale at a certain vendor that was a very good item that was like 2 gold pieces, and it should have been like 10,000 gold pieces. And some guys went in, and a few guys, look, they said, oh wow, 2 gold pieces, that's really good stats, I'm gonna buy this for my character. Some people went in and said, I can sell this on the market or upgrade this item and sell it for a crap load of gold, and they exploited the system and they got banned. Now there was a bunch of crying about it, and I'm just gonna say this right now: if you find an exploit in a game, report it. Don't try to fake it out, just report it. Okay, now we're at this loading screen, which I have to say, since it was my first time loading, it seemed like it took a while. I actually stopped.
It does take a little bit long.
Okay, so it wasn't just me. So I stopped the recording and then restarted a minute or two later. I should have probably stopped it before.
Your first jump in does take a little bit. There's a little bit when you change, sections of the world, but it's not bad. But it also depends on how many people are on the server. As of late, with all the updates, there's been a little bit of lag depending on the population, but yeah, that's a little bit given.
Okay, so you can see the graphics options. I always, as soon as I enter any game, I enter into the options. One of the first things I do, I'll just be honest, I usually mute the sound. I didn't in this because it's my first playing, but I find music to be distracting for me usually. But the music so far, and again, Steve, you played a lot longer than I have, has been pretty good.
It has been nice. It hasn't been too obnoxious because, as you say, you mute the sound, and I don't mute it. I lower it because it does take away from all the clashings of the swords, the basic sounds which I listen for. But it's been pretty basic, pretty calming, so I've left it alone, and I'm a level 20 now.
See, and here's another part. She's going through you with the discussion. This is more good voice acting. It's giving atmosphere. It's progressing the story. I like that. Another thing, going back to what you said about loading zones, in Guild Wars 1, every time you went to a new zone, you had to download it. It took forever, and I know you have one. A lot of people have bandwidth caps. And for people with bandwidth caps, that is annoying. So, I like what Guild Wars 2 did here. They basically, you download the game, you have all the areas. Of course, when it gets expansions, there's going to be updates. But I like that. Did you play Guild Wars 1, Steve?
I never did.
It was pretty good for its time. I will tell you one thing that I don't like about the Guild Wars series real quick. And you'll look at the bottom of the menu. That doesn't look like a Diablo bar. Anyway, you have the 10 slots, okay? Those are the 10 slots that you're going to get for the rest of this game. Some of them are locked, as you can see, because I haven't progressed far enough. I don't like that. I don't like being limited to 10 abilities. Those are the only 10 abilities that I can use when I'm out in a combat zone. I don't know what your feelings on MMOs are, but I don't like that.
I feel the same. I feel it needs to have some more to it, but I understand why they only had that many slots because well numbers on your keyboard, but
Well, well, one of the things about it is, and they've addressed this in the original Guild Wars, was they wanted you to have to tactically think about, okay, what do I want to walk out of in the combat zone with, because I'm limited skills. Now, I'm not disagreeing with that necessarily, but I think limiting it, and in the original Guild Wars it was 8, which was horrid. Limiting it to 10, we're watching some combat here. It's really fluid, really pretty. I like that. Limiting it to 10, I think, is a little a little bit restraining. But I also don't want it to go the way of WoW, where you log in and there's 5,000 buttons of all the different skills you have. I understand that it's not pretty and it looks nasty and it distracts from the game, but I don't like 10.
I do understand the whole tactical thing of, figuring out what you want. You got to figure out what combo is good with this. I really appreciate that because it does make it so you have to think about the game a little bit more.
I agree. This is a boss scene. Now, I don't know if all bosses do this, but I know this one did. I kind of liked how they did that. It's like, oh, you're at a challenge that is not going to be... Now, there's some other guys. These other guys with the light green or light blue names, those are actually other players. I didn't know that at the time. I thought they were like NPCs, but...
It took me a little bit too.
Yeah. And it obviously wasn't that hard of a boss, but I do like that they animate this. Hey, this is a boss. I'm okay with that. It, again, atmosphere, feeling. I like that. You've gone through 20 levels, Steve. What are your overall impressions of the game so far?
So far, it's been nice. There's a few MMOs I've played where you're able to rush through and do just the main section of the game, and you can totally forget about the side missions, which I don't like. But at the same time, I don't like that they're forcing you to do the side missions in this game. Like, pretty much you have to either grind or do the side missions to hit that recommended level to do your main quest. Otherwise, you're going to get, well, devoured by everything inside. But it makes it so the game does take a little bit longer. It makes it so you have to play a little bit more. It makes you explore the map, which I do appreciate, so you don't just straight shot through the entire game and call it done.
So, would it be fair to say that this isn't to put it in WoW terms, and just so you all know, I've never played WoW more than like 5 minutes, and it's not my type of MMO. But basically, it's not a WoW type MMO where you're going to be able to grind to 85 without doing side quests. You're just going to straight shot it and get power grinded up to 85 in a couple days. I mean, is it safe to say this is going to take some time?
It's going to take some time. Considering I've had it for about a week now. I haven't played, 24/7. I do have a job. But between that time, I'm only level 20. That's impressive. Unlike Star Wars: The Old Republic,
I was gonna say, didn't we?
A week, I was half capped.
Yeah, didn't I? Yeah, I was gonna say, didn't we, like in the Old Republic when we were playing with the other 3 guys that we were playing with pretty regularly? Wasn't it like, a week, and we were close to the caps? Yeah.
It's a little ridiculous.
The cap here is 60. I don't know how the experience goes up. Is it going to be exponential? Do you know, or did it seem like it was longer from 19 to 20 than it was from 18 to 19?
It's starting to jump up more and more. It's not a huge jump, but it's still, there's a pretty major change. So it does take a little bit longer, but when you think the higher level you are, the higher level monsters are, the more experience they have, yada yada yada, it kind of balances out. So there's not too much of a jump, but it still does take a little bit more time, which is cool.
Okay, that's interesting. You're gonna see me. I'm going through the menus here. It's interesting that you can click one of the menus and it has all those menus that are on the top bar on the left. If you click the very first menu. Now I was checking the world versus world stuff out. Oh, I got put in a K apparently, or a Q apparently to go to some region, and it said, "Look, this region's really busy, so we're gonna put you somewhere else while you're waiting." So I thought that was kind of nifty. That tells me that these guys have, one of the things about like Diablo 3 is, they weren't, and I'm gonna talk about this before we gotta go. They weren't like prepared for the amount of people. Guild Wars was prepared. They were prepared for how many people were going to be coming into this game. They were so prepared that when I went out to buy this game, I couldn't find it at a local retailer, so I came home to digitally download it. It said it was unavailable for digital download because they didn't want their servers to be overwhelmed. I did pick it up at another local retailer. I was annoyed, but I kind of understand that. Um, we got about a minute and a half left. You got any last thoughts about the game, Steve?
Uh, no. So far, it's been pretty balanced. I'm impressed. That's about all I really
Have you checked PvP out yet?
I have not. I haven't gotten that far. I haven't really tested it, but so far
Well,
I've heard it's great.
in a few weeks, when we get to that level, when we've grinded it out, we may make another review of the Guild Wars PvP. The next two reviews that Steve and I are going to be doing for sure is going to be Borderlands 2, September 18th. Be excited. And Torchlight 2, which we have been waiting for since April because they kept saying summer, and they really meant summer. They're literally releasing it the last day of summer. So far, my impressions are this game was worth $60. I like the model. It's pay one time, not pay for every month. I like that model. I would have to absolutely. As far as our rating goes, I'm gonna give it 5 stars initially. If I want to change that later, I will. But I'm 5 stars on this. How about you, Steve?
I feel the same way, Nate.
Yeah. All right. Well, hope you guys enjoyed our review, and we'll be putting those other two reviews out in the next couple of weeks. Have a great day and enjoy the game.